Guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going to talk about 7 champions, the only 7 rare support champions that I would, if I had to restart the game today, that I would bother ranking up to 6 stars, okay? There are several champions that I would still rank up to 5 stars, kind of level 50 max, and then stop there, but I'm really hesitant to invest in champions that I think will only last me until the very early kind of mid-game inside the game. So today we're going to review those champions, but first let's kick things off. I didn't mean to do 10! Ah, crap, I meant to do 1. Darn it. All right, well, we opened up some ancient shards here. Let's see if we can get lucky here. And you know what? None of these champions are going to make our list here. None of them. Okay, one of them is. Apothecary is going to make the list. Let's just start with Apothecary. Might as well, right? By the way, guys, I have 7 champions that I think are the go-to, definitely 6-star worthy support champions. And then I have an additional 3 champions that if I was going to play the entire game, 100% free to play, that I would consider 6-starring. I will give you those 3 champions at the end of this list. So let's start out with Apothecary. He's the most obvious, probably. He is the best support champion for rare inside Raid Shadow Legends. He's probably the best rare champion alongside Coldheart inside Raid Shadow Legends, especially when you talk about end-game viability. Starting off with a great aura on Apothecary, increase ally defense by 21% in dungeons. This is really, really strong, really crucial for dungeon progression, pretty much, in the early, in the mid, and even the late game. A lot of people use Apothecary as their aura lead for their teams because we're looking for increased ally defense, and 21% is a solid number for a rare champion as well. So, Boon of Speed is his go-to ability. He has the increased speed, the turn meter as well. On a 3-turn cooldown, he has the heal on a 2-turn cooldown, and then he has the 3-time hitter on the A1. Really solid as well. You can use him with Giant Slayer because of this, and you can use him, again, not only as an aura lead, as a healer, as a turn meter booster, and as a speed booster. And one thing that bears mentioning here at the start of the video, guys, is that all of these buffs, increased speed, increased defense, the 2 main ones especially that we talk about in terms of support champions, those are based on the total stats of your character, right? So unlike a chess piece, for example, if you have plus 50% defense, that is scaling not off your total stats, including the other artifacts and masteries in Great Hall. It's only scaling off of that base defense of that character, of that champion. However, an increased speed or an increased defense buff is based on everything, so it takes that big number and then increases it. So you can already see how a 30% increased speed or a 60% increased defense is just insane in terms of the value. That does account for the Great Hall, all your artifacts and your masteries, okay? Let's move on to the next champion. Probably my personal favorite, second best support in the rare category would be Marked Barbarian Champion Magic Affinity. She has the strong version of increased defense on all allies and a block debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Now, you do have to book Marked. You can do that with duplicate rares, or you can do that with the rare books, of course. But 3-turn cooldown on the strong version of increased defense for 2 turns and the block debuffs. There's no ability like this in rare champions in the game. So Marked is really on an island of her own in terms of providing that sort of support with the strong version on an AoE of all allies on the increased defense. The only downside to Marked is she has a very low defense at 848 for being a support champion, and her HP at 19k is not the lowest, but it's just not the best either. Her speed is solid at 100, so I would actually build her with crit rate gauntlets, get her because she does have an AoE attack on her A2 and the decreased accuracy, so I would probably not worry about getting her accuracy high because there has to be some trade-offs here, and I would just use this as an AoE attack on her A2 on a 3-turn cooldown. I would build her with maybe a defense chest, maybe definitely speed boots, and then I'd be looking for HP percentage and defense percentage on my substats on my other gear. And that's probably how I would build her personally. But either way, Totemic Power is just a great ability inside this game, and Marked is a fantastic support because of it. So the next champion I want to take a look at here is Master Butcher. Now, Master Butcher is a champion that not a lot of people talk about. To be fair, I would probably rank him towards the bottom of the list. He's right on the borderline of, am I going to give this guy a nod for 6-star worthy, or am I going to use him at the end of the video in terms of if I was 100% free to play? He's right there on the borderline, depending on what you need, right? Because he provides some CC via his provokes, along with some heals and a revival. So he has a very unique kit in terms of there's really no champion with the same flavor in the rare category. So he has a 30% chance of placing a provoke on his A1, which is pretty solid. I would love if it was like 40 or 50% chance, but I'm getting greedy for a rare champion. On the A2, places a provoke debuff on a target enemy for 2 turns. That's guaranteed. And then places a 15% increased crit rate buff on all allies for 2 turns. Places a 25% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. Now, increased crit rate is the crappiest buff in the game, so I'm just going to ignore that. I really don't give it any extra like credit. Any champion that I see with increased crit rate, I mean, sure, if you build all your champions to 80% crit rate, sure, it will help you out. But really, I think it's a pretty worthless buff compared to most in the game. Increased attack, though, the weak version is still pretty solid. This is on a 4-turn cooldown, but he is landing that provoke, providing you have enough accuracy every time. You do have to build this champion out with accuracy, unlike marked, at least in my opinion. Some people will still say you build up marked with accuracy as well. Heat exchange can be booked down to 1 turn. So every turn when he is attacked, or once per turn when he's attacked, heals all allies equal to the amount of damage taken. Really solid kind of niche passive heal in his kit, right? So he's not healing one ally with lowest HP, he's healing all allies equal to the amount of damage taken. Now, if he's hit for, 20, 30k damage, it's actually a pretty decent heal, and it's happening every turn. And then his last passive is revives a random ally with full HP when he's killed. So it's almost like a life exchange at the end of the battle, right? Or if things get a little rocky with all those provokes landing on all the enemies, for example, and he dies, hey, his last kind of addition to your team as a support champion is going to be revive somebody else if somebody else died before him. So that is Master Butcher. So next up is Mother Superior, and I actually am a big fan of Mother Superior. Some people, I think the word is kind of out on her as being a really, really solid support champion, but I don't hear her name enough, at least in terms of rare champions who provide excellent support. She has an aura, increase ally speed in all battles by 13%. It's not the best speed aura in the game, but it is all battles. So if you're lacking a good aura champion in any specific category, boom, you just slot Mother Superior there in your lead and you're looking good. That's, again, 13% is a solid speed increase, but just not as high as some other champions. On the A3, has a continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns, and then a shield buff equal to 10% of this target's HP on all allies, of the target's HP on all allies for 2 turns if the ally's HP is full, okay? So a shield / continuous heal on the A3, but I really like the A2 here. Heals an ally by 30% of this champion's max HP, places a shield buff equal to any surplus heal for 2 turns if the target is fully healed by this skill. So I'm building Mother Superior up with incredibly high HP, and this is very important to get the full value out of her. I'm putting her in a shield artifact set, right? So she's healing based on her max HP, and the shield artifact set is also based on the wearer's max HP that's going to put that shield on all your allies. So Mother Superior, I like to combine champions with an HP based heal, kind of like Painkeeper, Mother Superior, in a shield set. I think it will make a dramatic difference to your team. That's why I like Mother Superior so much. So she has the speed aura, she has the continuous heal for 2 turns, and then she has the heal on a 3-turn cooldown based on her HP, extra shield set on top of her, all that, and then we're looking pretty good here. She has a decreased attack on the A1, kind of whatever on the A1, but overall I think Mother Superior can be a very decent support on your team, and I would 6-star her, especially for the early and throughout the mid-game and dungeon progression. Pretty high base speed at 103, defense is solid at 947. Her HP could be a little bit higher for that scalability, but still 16k isn't that bad for a rare champion. What we pretty much always have to talk about Relic Tender when we talk about really solid rare support champions in the game, or just really good rare champions, in the game to begin with. So Call of Life revives an ally 30% HP and fills a turn meter by 30% on a 5-turn cooldown. It's rare to have a rare champion with a decent revival, and this is just decent, very average revival, but still is a nice utility to have on your team. On the Tender's Watch, it removes all debuffs from all allies. Having that full cleanse on a 3-turn cooldown is incredibly valuable, and it's the only rare champion I believe in the game who does have this ability. And then she places a continuous heal buff on them for 2 turns as well. So Tender's Watch is a great support ability, having that full cleanser on all allies plus a continuous heal. And on the A1 has a decreased attack similar to what we just saw in Mother Superior. So guys, that is going to be Relic Tender. Let's move on to the next one. The next champion we talk about a lot here on the channel, it is Valerie. Valerie Bannerlord is incredibly underrated. Actually, what are her ratings? Her ratings are pretty solid in-game, but still, like, in terms of the overall zeitgeist of Raid Shadow Legends, not a lot of people value, in my opinion, Valerie. Really good champion. First of all, stats are on point. Speed is okay at 98. HP is a little low at 15k. Attack is just, she's not an attack based. I mean, she is attack based champion, I think, on her, A1. She only has 1 attack ability, so we're not really concerned with how much damage she's putting out. She's a sheer support champion, so we love to see that 1002 defense on her main stats. So on our A1, attack 1 enemy, swing. Very basic, self-describable skill here is swing. On the A2, this is where things get interesting. Increases the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn. A lot of people don't realize how valuable that is. This is going to extend those increased defenses that are only 2 turns to 3 turns. And those big buffs, the increased speed and increased defense that we talked about at the beginning of the video, those are generally on a 3-turn cooldown on Apothecary and on Marked, but the buffs are only good for 2 turns. If you have Valerie on your team, she's going to be extending those buffs to encompass the total duration of the cooldown of those skills. It's also going to decrease the duration of all debuffs on all allies by 1 turn. It also places a 25% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Energizing Presence is a very good ability, especially for a rare champion. Protect is a great ability too. Has a great shield, places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. The value of the shield depends on this champion's level. Heals each ally according to the number of buffs they are currently under. So the Protect ability is pretty cool as well. Has a heal, has a shield, granted a 5-turn cooldown, but just a quintessential support champion in the rare category inside Raid Shadow Legends. So I don't even know why Bellower is considered a rare support champion. He is a debuffer. He's more of an attack-based champion, similar to like War Maiden, but he's support, so we have to include him on the list. He has AoEs on every one of his abilities. He's only debuffing and, using AoE attacks everywhere. You can build him out to be a nuker or just a debuffer with some sustainability, keeping your team alive via his debuffs. He has decreased attack, decreased defense, all the small version of these debuffs. On the A2, decreased speed. On the A1, block cooldown skills. It's only a 30% chance, but it's a really strong debuff on his A1 Frazzle. So that is Bellower. I mean, again, in my mind, he's more of a debuffer, not support. I guess that could be support, but all the other debuffers in the game, or at least most of them, fall under a different category. So either way, Bellower makes the list because technically he is a support-based champion. A lot of people use him as just a farmer or a nuker or a debuffer. Either way, that's him. I did mention 3 other champions that I wanted to quickly run down before we end this video, and these are the guys or gals who, again, I would consider 6-starring only if I was going to be 100% free to play. Other than that, they're definitely viable to bring to level 50. They will help you out even at level 50 in the early game in Raid Shadow Legends. Spirit Host definitely deserves a huge nod here on this video because she's farmable in campaign. So she needs to be booked out, but you can book her out just by farming duplicates. She has a strong version of increased attack on all allies for 2 turns, and then she has a debuff removal on all allies and places a block debuffs buff on all allies for 1 turn on a 5-turn cooldown. So it's a pretty lengthy cooldown here compared to Relic Tender. here. You don't get the continuous heal. Instead, you get the block debuffs, but still pretty solid champion considering she is farmable. She also has the speed in all battles. So solid champion in Spirit Host, and one that's very, very easily accessible. So we have another one here in Night Revenant, and it is Thurgist. Where are you? There we go. Thurgist is a pretty solid champion. Again, I would not... Champions that have the small version of increased defense and the small version of increased attack, granted on a 3-turn cooldown on all allies, getting those both those buffs from one champion is valuable. However, I don't see these small debuffs, even if they are on one skill, as scalable into the late game. So for that reason, I personally would stop at 5 stars on Thurgist. But overall, not a bad champion. Has a attack one enemy with a block buffs debuff, a kind of a whatever skill on the A2, and then has a filter meter of a random ally by 10%. The rest of the kit on Thurgist leaves a lot to be desired, in my opinion, but I decided that he or she, I didn't even realize the gender of that champion, did deserve a nod. I think it was a he. All right, the last one that I wanted to kind of point out, and I've talked a little bit about him in the past, it is not Flinger. Where are you? It's not Slasher. It's Metal Shaper. I always go to say Sharper because he's got these Edward Scissorhand weapons here. Either way, let's go and talk about why I like Metal Shaper. Rescue removes all debuffs from an ally with the lowest HP, then heals that ally by 20% of this champion's max HP. Places an increased defense buff on that target for 3 turns. On a 4-turn cooldown. Rescue is the ultimate, like, okay, literally, I will rescue one champion. It's not all allies. On the A2, places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. The value of the shield is proportional to this champion's level. It's on a 2-turn cooldown. So, another one that I'm probably on the fence with Metal Shaper. You could make the case that you want to take him to 60, right? You want to rank him all the way up to 6 stars to get the full value of the shield, which is proportional to his level. It's almost like Raid saying, dude, rank me up to level 6 or you're not going to get the full value. So again, right on the fence with him. Maybe him and Master Butcher are right in the same category. But either way, I did want to give him a nod and share him with you guys. So there you have it, guys. Those are really the only support champions in the rare category that I would recommend you take to 6 stars. Let me know if there's someone that I am overlooking. Is there someone that I forgot that you really, really love in terms of rare support? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content here, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Thanks, and as always, take care, guys.